Hello. Oh, let me turn this off. Okay. Okay, no. Good morning. I'm just gonna wait a minute to see if anyone shows up. Just gonna ramble. I made some biscuits yesterday for the first time for the recipe, from a recipe. But they use like a whole lot of butter, and I needed to use butter without salt because they were like super salty. And I just had one. They weren't that salty yesterday, but this morning it was like too much salt for me. So that was cool. They were gluten-free biscuits, and now I have a whole bunch of them that I'm not sure what to do with, but I'm not really good at cooking, so that's how it goes, even from a recipe. But maybe next time I'll use some butter without salt. So okay, well, so I'm just gonna start reading. We're on page 11, and this is the wise woman tradition is the spiral. Say hi to my kitty Horace. It's a beautiful sunny day, and I am super tired because we have one car and me and my husband work opposite schedules, and so in order for me to have the car to go to work, I need to get up earlier than maybe I should. And I tried to take a nap, but I didn't really sleep couldn't really sleep. So, and I had to go into work tonight. But anyway, okay. The symbol of the wise woman tradition is the spiral. A spiral is a circle as it moves through time. Hello, somebody's here. Hello, welcome. Good morning. So I want you guys to think about the symbol of a spiral and maybe what it might mean to you. My mom is sending me texting. Good morning, Silver Willow. How are you? I'm just picking up on page 11. The wise woman tradition is a spiral. And so I'm going to read some, and then we'll talk about it. I'm going to read some more of a chickweed, which is the plant we're reading about further on in the book. Yeah, so when you guys think about a spiral, what it means to you? Does it symbolize anything special? This is what it means in the wise woman tradition. A spiral is a movement around and beyond a circle, always returning to itself, but never at exactly the same place. Spirals never repeat themselves. Spirals remind us that life is movement, that each movement is unique, and that form is the essence of transformation. The symbol of the wise woman tradition is the spiral. The spiral is the bubbling cauldron, the curl of the wave, the lift of the wind, the whirlpool of water, the umbilical cord, the great serpent. The path of the earth, the twist of the helix, the spin of our galaxy. The spiral is the soft guts. The spiral is the labyrinth. The spiral is the womb, moon, tide, Mobius pole. The spiral is your individual life. The spiral is the passage between worlds. Birth passing into death, death passing into birth. This path of enlightenment is the spiral dance of bliss. And I'm a little tired this morning, so bear with me if I'm extra rambly. The symbol of the wise woman tradition is a spiral. Spirals never repeat. Walk a circle and you can stay in balance. Know the cycles. Trust your every step. Walk a spiral. You'll inevitably come to the unique next step. The unknown, the 13th step, the opportunity for change, the window of transformation. The 13th step creates the spiral. 12 is the number of established order. 13 is easily divided and ordered into halves and quarters and thirds, easily characterized and labeled and defined. One step beyond the multiple 12 is 13, the wild card, the unique number, the invisible prime, 13, the number of change. So yeah, that is the wise woman tradition, is a spiral. Hi. Okay, so I wrote a note here, and then so this is talking about well, so this is what the wise woman tradition spiral means. I'm sorry. The note was, how has anyone ever felt like this? Like they're on the edge of themselves. And then also, like, what does a spiral mean to you? Oh. I'm going to go on to reading about chickweed. Let me find where I am at. Okay, well, since we only have one person here, I guess I'm going to do more talking about myself. So for me, so when I was first reading this book or trying to read this book years ago, I didn't really understand what she meant by this thing about the spiral and how, oh, that's okay, Silver Willow. I was, I'm having a hard time this morning. I really am. So usually this is easier. So so I couldn't figure it out. I didn't understand. And then when I got sick with my irritable bowel syndrome, and I was really, I was really sick. I felt like I was like at the edge of myself. Like, and I really felt like this. Like I was really going off into the unknown. Like I really didn't know. And when I read this, I really felt like I was walking that 13th step around, leaving everything that I had known and going into the unknown. So Silver Willow, I've always thought of the spiral as the path of life. Yeah, and that's what she's talking about here, which is something that I didn't understand before. And I can really see that now. So well, thank you. Oh man. So I'm going to go on to the next page. Do you have this book? Is the Wise Woman Tradition is woman-centered. And it is broken up into little like sub-chapters. So the Wise Woman Tradition is woman-centered tradition. Everything is perceived as manifesting from the female center: life, nourishment, song, story, shelter, love, beauties, sacredness, healing, wholeness. Earth is mother, is woman, is wholeness, is health. So whenever they are men or women, all self-healing helpers in the Wise Woman tradition are perceived as women. In the Wise Woman tradition, health, wholeness comes through nourishment, and nourishment comes through the mother. Nourishment comes from women. So healing occurs in the ground of women's power, in the ground of heart-centered compassion. What is this women's power? This power of nourishment. This power of creation and destruction. What is this female energy? It certainly is not the opposite of what we think of as male energy. It is not the passive or even the receptive. It is the void. Female energy is the void of all being, the all-consuming void, the all-birthing void. Okay, so you used to follow Susun Weed on Facebook. She also has a YouTube channel that she does. She has a lot of videos up, and she occasionally makes new ones. She has this really kind of poetic writing style. That I find a bit sometimes hard to read and understand what she's saying. For the most part, I can understand, and I think she's a little wordy, but but overall, I do really like it. So do you want me to read some more or go on to skip over to more about chickweed? Sort of, so she's going to talk about the power of the void next. I'm sort of going back and forth to make it a little more interesting, a little more sort of rooted in now because the chickweed is up. Okay, I will keep reading. The power of the void. In the Wise Woman tradition, all health, all coming to wholeness, begins with a return to the void. to heal, to become whole. We turn around the spiral of our life. We turn again around the spiral and enter the void, the great unknown, knowing only that our form is reformed, that our form is transformed, that rebirth inevitably follows death. When we revisit our death, when we resist our death, our return to the void, we call it our problem. Have you experienced anything like this? The problem is I am in pain. The problem is I'm out of control. The problem is I am falling without chance of stopping, falling into the void of all beginnings, into the void of all ends. The wise woman tradition asks us to let go and fall into the void, fall into the open arms of the mother. Add on to yourself by letting go of everything. Become whole and healthy by turning on the spiral, by returning to the void. Where does the spiral end? Where begin? In the void? Place of female power. Place we are all taught to avoid. Nothing. Chaos. The spiral emerges from and ends in invisibility. The great nothing. Dark womb of the goddess. Endlessly empty. Endlessly full. Doorway of life. Window of transformation. Entry to death. Death is part of successful healing in the wise woman tradition. Death is the invisible, unique void. The void is woman power. There's a word, simultaneously dramatic, yet and relaxed, yet completely full. Satiated, yet always consuming. Creative, abundant, insatiable, unfillable, unquenchable, wild, having nothing to receive, knowing everything is already present, completely calm. Silver Willow says, everything about my life in my middle years scares me. I'm trying to let go of that and be happy with myself. Yes. I had, so I'm 41, and I had a similar experience. I was so scared and so terrified about what was going on in my life that so IBS is a mind-body issue. My head, I mean, there's nothing physically wrong with me, but yet my I was so scared. It was like a cry for help that I was affecting my body, manifesting physically because I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to get out of the situation that I was in. I didn't even know, like, I wasn't even fully acknowledging the situation that I was in. So it took a lot for that to start happening. But once that started happening, I started getting better. I would say that it's, and this, I would say that if you know how you feel about things, that's a good place to start. You know, and then you can go from there to try to figure out how to deal with how you feel and how to start I don't know the words. I don't want to say improving your life, but how to start healing from there and taking that turn around the spiral that she's talking about into the unknown. So and I think sometimes this, I think that's, hey Heather, how are you this morning? Good morning. You know, we go along in our lives and then bam, you know, it's like, wait, all of this is not working. So then we have to figure out and look at ourselves and be really honest in order to move forward. And so I'm beginning to come to terms with how I feel about things, but the problem is that no one around me understands. That's a hard place to be, Silver Willow. That is definitely a hard place to be. I was very fortunate that I was able to go to my parents' house. I got to get removed from my life and my responsibilities and basically become like a kid again. I go to my parents and have the support both emotionally and financially that I needed. I would say that if you can afford and you're open to having maybe going to some therapy, you know, or if there is a like a support meetup group in your town, some sort of supportive thing. I definitely want to support you, and you know, in this journey, and you know, you started on the path, so that's good. That's good. You know. Yes, I've tried that before. Nothing happened. I get more support from people in life. Well, it did take me a long time to find a therapist that I can work with. But support is support. And I am really glad that you have had, I mean, I know that the community is really, really supportive. Simon from the Hermit's Cave has started a mentor program. I don't know if it would pertain to your situation, but it's about learning, and it might help provide some support in, even if you're just learning about like a interest. It's about learning about spiritual, different people, like you're supposed to, like if they're wanting to teach stuff in witchcraft or like crystal or like tarot or stuff like that. So I don't know. He has a Facebook group. But anyway, I'm sure you can contact him. His email is on his YouTube page. So Heather says it's hard being more solitary. It is. It is. And even when you try to reach out, it can be not, the results can be not what you're hoping for. So, you know, it takes a lot of courage to do that. I just have kept reaching out. Only found Simon. Heather says, I'm only found Simon. I like him and would like to find a space for your group. Yes. Yeah. So, like, let me get on my cell phone and see the name of the group for you guys. Because see if I can find it. gosh. Let's see. Well, so it's just the Hermit's Cave. It's just coming up. The Hermit's Cave, I guess. I'll put a link in the description. Unless one of you guys are able to find it. But he just mentioned it on his, he took a lovely walk around Nottingham, a park in Nottingham. It was one of his videos, and he just mentioned it. So, okay, I will put a link in the description so you guys can pop up here when this uploads, because it takes a few minutes to pop up usually, and then you can click on it and you know, and check that out. I thought it was a really awesome idea. Okay, yeah. So, you know, a lot of times when I read this book, I just think about a lot of these things correlate to tarot cards. Like when she's talking about the void, I really think about the death card and how like it's about things ending, and then, you know, new beginnings. So I thought that was really cool, and a nice way to understand what she's saying, and tied in tarot if you do tarot. So that was cool. So I'm just gonna continue. I hope everyone's having a good morning. It was Heather, it was really great to hear your. Oh, I got blurry. Whoa, what's going on? Okay, so you're just starting tarot. Cool. Well, if you found Simon's channel and Becca's channel, and you probably found a lot of other channels that are really a good place to learn. That's what I've learned a lot from, because I've just been doing it for about a year, and everything. So Jen's channel, yeah, she's great. She's got a lot of videos on like a lot of how to do stuff on there. So, yes, lives are terrible for ADD. I gotta say, just terrible, because I read the chats and I'm like, oh, go off in different places, and then I come back, and then I just want to let y'all know that I try to stay on track somewhere. I'll meander back. So yes, Heather, it was awesome to hear your voice, and you know, your sense of humor comes through in the chat, but it really comes through like when I can hear your voice, and so that's awesome, because you know, it just it makes me feel like I know you better. So, oh, thank you. Yes. That's common with a lot of lives. I know. And you don't realize it unless you go live yourself. Some people are really good. Like, I think Simon's amazing at like staying on track. And then also Kelly from The Truth and Story is just really good But, you know, I think they've been doing it a lot longer than I have. So I think it just takes practice. Oh, you're welcome, Heather. You're welcome. I just, you know, I have a Heather image, and this just adds to the Heather image. So, okay. So, oh, and I appreciate you guys showing up, and hanging out with me, and everything. So I really do. It would just be me talking to myself without you guys. Just, so I really appreciate it. Okay, so going to read the next part, still on the void. So here in the void lives the crone. Here we encounter the crone in her power. Hecate chants the words at the crossing. Kali, bedecked with musical runic symbols, dances on the corpse. Sedwin, the sacred sow, cosmic pig, feeds eternally. Hell, full of passion, guards the sacred fire. The unknowable goddess flutters her veil. The void contains all and consumes all. From the void comes the virgin who gives birth. Mary sits spinning the red thread of life. Persephone weaves the tapestry of the universe. Ishtar performs the sacred belly dance for her sisters. All life arises from the creative void. Where is the void? Is it heaven? Is it hell? Up in the mountain, my town, at the Tibetan monastery, the day begins with an invocation to the goddess Tara, life giver, an invocation to Kali, the goddess of death, closes each day. All things begin from woman, all things return to woman. In sickness and death, we are the food, the nourishment of the void, the great goddess. Now I eat you. In life and birth, she gives to us, nourishing us abundantly, cares for us compassionately. Now you eat me. Oh, well, I'm glad you're glad to be here too. All right. So we are going to go and read a little bit about chickweed, continuing what we were reading before. Balances off some of the more heavier stuff. So we're into chickweed facts. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I'm just been continuing reading from Healing Wise. And I was reading The Power of the Void. And we're still talking about the wise woman tradition part. And we'll be talking about that for a while because I'm only reading like 2 pages a week. So it's a slow burn, which is fine. Really easy for anyone to catch up in the book if they have it, or or just follow along. Like in school, where like you have your textbooks, but then you follow along when someone reads it out loud. So deep thoughts, they are seriously deep, and not just because we're talking about the void. Some of them are not as deep, but this one definitely, when you're, and it, like I said, it reminds me of the death card. and you know, and how like everything, it can mean you know, things ending and things beginning. And a lot of these goddesses, you know, they have death, Hecate, well, she's a crossroads, Kali, though, hell. I mean, a lot of them I'm not that familiar with all of their symbolism. So yeah. So chickweed facts. So the botanical name is Yep, gonna mess that up. This is the botanical name of chickweed. And it means little star. The first word, and then media, in the midst of, in Latin. And some of the English common names are, of course, chickweed, starweed, tongue grass, winterweed, satinflower, whitebird's eye, adder's mouth, starwort, stitchwort, clunkenweed, chunkenweed, CLUKEN, skirt buttons, chick withers, let's see, chickeny weed. I like stitchwort. Yeah, that's a good one too. I don't know why it's called that. Food uses. Little history. Once hawked on the streets of London, chickweed is now only occasionally sold at all, and then only dried. Right. So, like, I don't know. Have you duckweed? Okay. So that's one that's not in this book. Usually there are a lot of common names for a plant, and it just depends where it is. Like usually there's like a list this long, because each area has made its own name up before the Latin classifications have come in. Hey Marge, how are you? I needed to. Okay. Have some cereal. I noticed when I picked it, seems to have a thread running through stem. What cereal are you eating, Leanne? I've never noticed that, Heather. I'll have to pay attention. I know that the stem is hairy. It's supposed to have little hairs on it. Chickens and ducks like to eat it. That's probably maybe why it got one of its common names and why we call it chickweed. It usually has something to do with like the uses. So most powerful fresh, chickweed does not lend herself to commerce and is rarely seen for sale as medicine. So basically, chickweed is just best fresh. So it's hard to, you can tincture it as a, as a way to preserve it. You can make an infused oil. But like the best way is just to eat it fresh. And so therefore it's kind of like hard to sell on a commercial basis. So you're in Florida, silver willow, chickweed, it should grow there. It grows almost everywhere. But probably once it starts getting really hot, it'll die back. My harvesting is kind of slow right now because I've got so many other things going on. I think maybe, next year will be much better in that regard. But so yeah, silver willow. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That the chickweed's probably done down there because it's pretty hot here, and I'm assuming in Florida it's already pretty hot. But gives you a chance to like read up and next year be on the lookout for it. So now that you know where it is, have you used it before? Nice. Okay, so you have. Fantastic. That's great. Yeah, that's the perfect way to do it. Just put it in salads. You can make an infused vinegar with it to use as like a salad dressing even. Oh no, Marge, no, don't say that. You ran out of milk? That's not good. There's no substitute. I've tried orange juice once, but it doesn't work that well. It's really gross. So I wouldn't try it. I would be eating chickweed too, but I don't have any land. So I'm like 30 minutes from my friend's land. And that doesn't really work when you just want to pop out and get some chickweed. And hers is almost gone now too. Eat it dry. Mini wheats? Nice. Are those frosted mini wheats? I had bacon this morning for breakfast. And my very salty biscuits that I made. They were very salty. I had, it called for a lot of butter, and I had salt in the butter because usually I don't salt things. So, but I need to use unsalted butter for this recipe because it's very salty. Are you going to have like a brunch, Heather, since you haven't had breakfast? You can also eat while I'm yammering if you need to. Let's see, what do we got? Soil uses. Helps soil retain nitrogen. Includes indicates fertile mineral rich soil. Hi Julie, good morning. How are you? Welcome. We're reading about we're just continuing reading about chickweed and talking about chickweed. So anytime you see chickweed grow, it means good soil. So my friend Ellen's garden has like awesome soil. And then uses, let's see, animal uses, esteemed food for caged songbirds as well as barnyard fowl, homestead rabbits, and kids guinea pigs. Most ruminants eschew it. I don't know what that means. Anyone knows what eschew means? Let me know. Although lambs may overeat it. Okay, guys, so if you want chickweed, do not keep your sheep by the chickweed. Habitat. Cultivated land, rich moisture, soil, open but cool. Natural range is the world. Spell it, please. ESCHEU. I don't know. Most ruminants eschew it. So like ruminants is like your cow or your goat or anything that chews a cud. I think a goat does that. So but definitely a cow. Anything that chews their, is a ruminant. Current range, wherever people destroy the soil throughout temperate North America, Europe, Australia, Tanzania, New Zealand, Southern and Eastern Central Asia, even within the Arctic Circle. Yeah. Toxicity. Toxicity? Externally, chickweed has never been reported to cause reaction. Her windblown pollen may contribute to hay fever. Internally, human cases of... Okay. So all of these things that is skewed. Deliberately avoiding using, abstain from. Okay, so you're... Thank you, Marge. Thank you very much. So your cows don't want to eat it. They won't eat it for some reason. More for us, right? Yeah. So best identified by many very tiny starry white flowers with 5 petals, so deeply divided they may appear to be 10 petals, growing in low, dense, vibrant green mats, single line of hairs on smooth stalk. And this is a quote from an herbalist, Juliette Levy, 1966. I have her book. If you guys aren't familiar with, if I can find her. Oh, it's down here. Juliette Levy. Okay, Julie, since you have the book, I am on page 115. Was he a gypsy? So this is her book. She's pretty famous. And there's a little quote from her in here. This small herb, often classed as a troublesome weed, is one of the supreme healers of the herbal kingdom and has given me wonderful results. So, which I really haven't read her book, but there's so many books I haven't read. Oh, she traveled with the gypsies. That's awesome. I would have loved to do that. Really. That is so awesome. I also love gypsies. I do too, Marge. I find them very fascinating, and I would love to, learn more. But I just don't know how one would go about doing that. They seem pretty secretive, pretty Silverwillow says, I'm getting back into reading and I have so much to read. I do too, Silverwillow. I have a ton to read, but don't. Occasionally, maybe tomorrow I will get in some reading. I'm off, so that would be good. Yeah, Heather, closed circle. Yeah. And I want to respect that too. I feel like, but any chance I get, if there's a chance, I'll be like, hi, my name's Jennifer. Hi, can I be your friend? Can I learn all your secrets? Also, I would love to know like more Native American healing with the plants, but one of my friends is Native American, but I just feel uncomfortable, asking if, there's any way I can learn any of that. So, can I join your caravan? Yes, Heather, definitely. I'd be like, please, I will do that right now. They'll be like, "Where's Jennifer? She went off to join the gypsies." And I'll be like, "Yes, I did. Yes, I did." I'll be like, "I'm out of here, man. I'm not straightening any more groceries. Bye. Living." Oh yeah, Leanne, I am also all over the place. I've got bits of books everywhere that I've just opened and read a few pages of. So it's really hard for me to commit. So that's why one of the reasons I wanted to commit to this book and sort of do this with you guys as a way to get myself to, you know, sort of commit and finally, because I've had this book for so long and I really haven't, you know, I feel like I haven't, look at the cup, look at it, it's falling apart. So really haven't, you know, processed it, understood it. And I'm glad I am, because like, even though like when she's talking about the wise woman traditions and all this stuff and the healing traditions, it's bringing up a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff sort of highlighted and things like that. So, yeah. Marge asks, Junebug, do you have any tips on picking glasses? I need to get some. Bring a friend with you as far as the aesthetics are concerned. Cause like I can't, when I don't have glasses on, I can't really see how I look in them. So I would say bring a trusted friend if you have. And then, you know, just find a decent an eye doctor you like. That are my tips. You can order frames online, but I just can't do that because I need to see them in person. But they do tend to be cheaper. My prescription, I have to have a full frame, and sometimes you can have like those half frames. And these are like special metal. I really like the metal ones. I'm reading chat. There you go. Silver Willow, that's what I've started doing, reading the books on video. Yeah, that's what I'm sort of doing. And it's cool. Oval, what's your... My eye doctor does not sell the... Oh, really, Marge? So in that case, if your eye doctor doesn't sell your glasses, maybe he can recommend a place, or he or she can recommend a place that you can go buy your frames from. I think a lot of the places online, you can do a trial where you order a couple pairs, like the lenses, the frames, and then if they don't look good, you can send them back. You can do that. Yeah, Heather, go to Walmart. Yep. I wouldn't, you know, buy like the lenses through Walmart, but it would definitely give you a chance to try them on. That's an awesome idea, Heather. Yeah, you're welcome, Marge. Glad we can help. I do like the metal, yeah. So this is the Chickweed Weed Walk. Put on your warm coat and boots and your hat, and come with me to pick some chickweed. Yes, it's the middle of January. No, I'm not crazy. The sun is cleared, and we'll have some good foraging down where the river widens and steeps towards the sea. I have the basket and some scissors. There's no dirt to wash off if we're carefully cut away an inch away from the ground, like giving the plants a haircut. Come on already. You won't need gloves. It's warm out today. I love chickweed. It's my favorite salad green, and not just because I can harvest it fresh all winter long. The taste is exceptional, clean, bright green without a trace of bitterness, but just a little salty. Mmm. Chickweed, yeah. Smell the fresh sea air. There's our supper, ready to be cut. Snip, snip. We'll be like the hairdresser for the little star lady. Our haircut will encourage the chickweed to branch many times and provide many more tender shoots for our cutting. And our cutting keeps the leaves large. Well, large for chickweed. I see your point, but look, some of these are nearly as big as your thumbnail. In a harsher habitat, the leaves won't get any bigger than your tiny toenail. So I've seen chickweed that big. Thanks, Heather, for the link. My doctor told me not to go to eye warmer for exams and stuff because they don't fully test your eyes or look for problems. I would agree with silver willow, but I think it's still a good place to try on frames and just sort of peruse and so get an idea of what you might like. But I don't have any personal experience except I did work for Walmart for 2 years, so as a cashier. But I don't have any personal experience with their vision center. I'm just Marge, chickweed is a pretty ground cover. Do you have any by you right now? It's a good edible ground cover. Oh, Julie, I am drinking my favorite tea, and it is, oh, hold on, I gotta get the bag. Back. Maybe right back. Turmeric. Amber Sun. Tumeric Tea, Amber Sun. And it's got turmeric, red tea, cardamom, cinnamon, and vanilla. So it's really tasty. It is a bit pricey. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. So Heather, if that's the only place you can get 4 glasses, then that's totally fine. You know, I've gotten lens glasses at Lens Crafters and like many times. I was just really lucky to have some insurance that helped me get some glasses, you know, do more for my eyes. And I had to get they're bifocals, So like you can't see them through the magic of technology. And when I first wore them, it made me seasick for like a week. And the ladies are like, oh, well, it just might make you feel a little funny, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, nothing. But I was like, I think I'm going to puke. Woo! Because when I look down, I've got the reading bit. But when I look up, I've got the looking far away bit. So, gonna catch up in some chat. I definitely think grass is mostly unnecessary. So, you know, if we can replace it with the more medicinal plants we can replace it with, I'm happy about that. The more you can eat your lawn, I am happy about that. Grass, you really can't do much with it. So, other than mow it, and who likes to mow? Transition lenses. Yeah, no, oh, you have the same type of glasses, Silver Willow? No, well, so they're not transition. So when I get out in the sun or I'm driving in the sunset, or when the sun rises and the sun is like shining directly at me, I'm just in trouble because I can't see a thing. Sometimes for a while I had these like really old sunglasses where I would just put over my glasses. That helped a little bit. So awesome. Purple frames, one of my favorite colors. One of my favorite colors. I had some purple frames when I was younger. These are kind of like a green. Oh. So the sun blinds me and I can't drive at night. Yeah. Oh. So Silver, you're just having a hard time with the driving altogether. Yeah. Driving at night, yeah, has been sort of harder for me, and I don't know why. Like maybe I'm just getting older, so it's just harder on my eyes to drive. So, oh, you see my kitty? This is Horace. This is Horace. Yeah. Can one acquire chickweed seeds, or you have to find them in the wild? Marge, you can buy them. The best place is to find them in the wild. Find the plants. So, if you live sort of more up, so I'm in North Carolina, if you live sort of more up north, then chickweed season is still going on. You could probably find some. But yeah, so I would, like, if you find the seeds, I would start them in your house. I don't think they're that easy to do from seeds. I've definitely never seen, we have a huge plant sale here every year. And I've never seen them in a pot for sale. But that doesn't mean you couldn't try. The cat? The cat. Canada? Yeah, so you should have it if you have any yard space. And I would just keep your eyes out for it. And when it starts blooming, it's got little tiny white flowers. And Julie's in Michigan, so yes, you probably have it right now going on. So Okay, so you have it. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. And I tried to transplant it. I don't know. I didn't have any luck. But I've got a weird space. Like I've got a little balcony area. So it kind of died. And right now, all of my plants are sort of not making it. I don't know why. Oh, thank you for the link to Mountain Rose, Heather. Cool. So they have it. Yeah, you want to do shady, moist spot. And maybe next year, Marge, you'll have a bunch of chickweed, and it sort of spreads on its own. Cool thing about the medicinal plants, so these weeds we're talking about, they're low maintenance. You don't have to do anything. You've got tons of it, which is really awesome. So Mountain Rose is a really good company. But large or small, all the leaves are an even, bright, clear green, absolutely smooth and growing in opposite pairs. See how the leaf stalks get longer and longer as they get further and further from the growing tip. Old chickweed is mostly stalk and not as edible as the tasty leafy parts. Snip the growing leafy tops off like this and leave behind the spoiled stalky stuff. Lay it in the basket in a neat bundle with all the stalks parallel. That makes it easier to chop for salads when we get back to the kitchen. No fuss, no mess, no dirt, no tedious washing. Look at this line of hairs that runs at the stems. Just one tiny line of hair on an otherwise totally smooth plant. That's not a second line of hairs. This one merely jumped to the other side, there at the leaf node. It goes around to each of the 4 directions, as in a prayer to the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. You almost need a magnifying glass to see the hairs, unless you hold the stem to catch the light, just so, making the hairs visible. Take another look at the stem. See how it barely rises from the ground. Not that it exactly creeps or lies on the ground, but chickweed can be said to grow out instead of up. There are so many branches to the stalk, and more here than usual, since my cutting increases the branching, that a single plant seems to grow like a supernova, radiating out and up. You're making me hungry. Me too. Well, you still haven't had breakfast yet, Heather. So I can understand that. But me too. I was like, I need some chickweed. Yeah, I did. I haven't noticed that. I'll have to look more closely at the hairs on the stems of the chickweed. Because that's a really cool idea. Pray to the 4 directions. Yeah, I like that. I'm in my pajamas though. I ate breakfast, but it's 12:10 and I'm still in my pajamas. I was like, I'm not getting dressed. You see my sheep pants. Got sheep pants on. Oh, it's too much to get dressed today. And I worked last night, and then we're scheduled short today. So I'm not looking forward to that. Not at all. Jim Jams. Yeah. They're new. Pick one and feel the slightly swollen joints. Crush it and note the juiciness. This is such a great plant to use as a poultice. Nothing like it for juicing things up and cooling off heat at the same time. An inconspicuous plant, says most writers. Smooth, green, small, low, no strong taste, and not very active medicinally. Inconspicuous, if you mean mostly overlooked. Many a lawn owner is totally unaware of chickweed at play in the grass. What a feast of food and fun and fantasy they could have had if the lawnmower didn't work. Susunweed feels the same way about the lawn, I feel, as we do. Few town dwellers notice it either, although I've never been in a city yet, except in the tropics, that wasn't graced with chickweed. I was always picking and eating chickweed off a curbside in West Berlin just a few months ago, much to the dismay of my German companion. At first, that is. A few salads later, they wanted to help me gather some. I do the same thing, Silver Willow. I sleep in it, and then if I'm off, I just don't get dressed until I need to go out somewhere. Just like put on pants, put on jeans. Why am I doing that? I'm really comfy in these, so. Well, so she's talking about gathering up off a curbside, but you really shouldn't do that because the plants, like by the road, they've sort of inhaled the all the fumes from the cars, and so the rule is you're supposed to harvest like 50 feet from any road or anything, and you're supposed to know if the soil's been like sprayed, or the soil history, the land history, so you know what you're harvesting is clean. But in a pinch, yeah, definitely. And she's right. Like I see this all around town. I'm just like, there's chickweed, there's cleavers, there's blah blah blah, and they're just, yep. Silverwell says, my parents live next door, and so much of the soil is hard. They keep telling me to mow my weeds, but I keep telling them, no, I'm eating that or using that. Oh, Silver Willow, I have to watch your video. Cool. I'll be doing that next. What are your thoughts on so-called vegetable sprays? Marge, I don't think they're necessary. Like, I feel like if you're getting a non-organic vegetable, what is just a wash going to do? Because that vegetable is already like made the chemicals or whatever it's grown in or sprayed on part of itself. So I think like it just doesn't matter at that point what you're going to wash it with, or even, when we rinse off apples. I don't even do that because I'm like, why am I doing that? So, and then if you're buying an organic plant, an organic veggie, then like it's organic. So like maybe to rinse off dirt, but if you're doing that, you just need water. So I feel like they're not very necessary, and it's just some sort of sales gimmick. Although like I have never looked and seen what was in them. So like I won't have time today at work. It'll be crazy. But I will try to remember to look and see what's in our vegetable washes at work, and whether whether they're good for whether you shouldn't whether they would be useful, in fact, but mostly for human hand germs. Yeah, Heather. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, whatever. But as far as like, I don't know, I would just use water, but and I know that our work, the produce department uses gloves when they handle, I think, but I will have to think more on that. But look at the kitty. Now you can see him. Oh, he's sleeping. He's so sleepy. I think vinegar is good for washing veggies. I think Heather, vinegar would be good for washing veggies, right? Or like a mix of vinegar and water. You know, if you want something to spray on there. And it's probably cheaper than what you buy in the store. But I'm going to look and see. And, you know, like next time we meet in a stream, I'll get back to you about maybe some more thoughts about that. Silverwell, I also try to buy everything as organic as I can, but sometimes I can't. So just got to do what you got to do, what you can afford. I saw a documentary that said that if everybody just ate more vegetables and less like meat and less other things, like more, you know, balance, because I think in this country we definitely eat way more meat than veggies. The health issues from the health gain from just eating more vegetables, included that in our diet, would outweigh some of the negative effects of eating non-organic veggies. So, and I think that I really believe this sounds very true to me. That Doug is Heather's cat. Doug, oh no! All of his teeth? Aww. Well, I'm glad he's feeling better, Heather. One of our cats, Eugene, had to get 2 of his teeth pulled, and we don't know. Horace hasn't been yet. So he's starting to get yeah. So I mean, I used to be a vegetarian, and now I eat meat again, but like I think like everything in moderation. You know, you definitely want to eat more veggies on that plate. Oh, that's awful. Well, I bet he was in a lot of pain too and discomfort. So I'm really glad that he's going to feel much better. So I'm also an omnivore, Heather. Yeah. Look at that guy. Okay. I'm going to read a little more. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, we have to take this guy to the dentist to have his teeth, I don't know, sometime in the middle of the year, because it's expensive. And we're supposed to be brushing their teeth, but yeah, that hasn't happened yet. Most gardeners notice it. Small statue seems only to encourage our Star Lady to a glorious abandon of abundance in vegetable or flower bed, thus bringing many an unladylike gardener's curse to the little Star Lady's ear. As any animal does,
Chickweed focuses her energy on producing as many viable seeds as possible. Here's a seed capsule, not much more visible than the rest of the plant. Maybe that's why wise women love the little star lady so. She's as invisible as they are.
Doesn't sound too much fun brushing a cat's teeth. Well, I think it's going to be an interesting experience because we have to like sort of like put it on the toothbrush first and like sort of have them lick it off so that they get used to this toothbrush thing. And one of our Horace here likes to chomp on fingers, so I think he's gonna really like doing that with the toothbrush. But it's just something we have not done yet. My cats aren't gonna let me brush their teeth. I can barely brush their fur. Yeah, I mean, every cat is different, so I mean, you could I don't know, I would talk to the vet if and see what kind of tricks they suggest. We got several suggestions about it, and it seems like an undertaking. Like, you have to be as committed to brushing your cat's teeth as you are to brushing your teeth. And sometimes that is even a challenge. Yes. So, I don't know. I'll let you guys know if that happens and what the results are. So the chickweed seeds, I think, are like really tiny brown seeds. Like really tiny, like like a needle, like the head of a needle, tiny. The seeds in here will ripen even if you cut the plant or uproot it. If I pick a lot of chickweed and leave it in the refrigerator, it's one wild green that keeps well. Within a few days, the bottom of my storage bag is covered with a layer of tiny yellow-orange seeds that have ripened and fallen loose. With your magnifying lens, you will see the teeth on the seed capsule. When the seed capsule gets wet, these teeth swell and keep the capsule tightly shut. When the sun and wind dry the capsule, the teeth loosen and allow the wind to take the seed free. These patches of chickweed seem almost perennial. They self-sow so readily and consistently. But we don't curse the chickweed. We bless it and accept its blessings of abundant green. Silverwell asks, have you dried chickweed for anything? So I don't usually dry it because it does lose a lot of its medicinal value. I would have to double check, and you would probably dry it for tea. If you are making a tincture, I would use fresh. If you're making oil, I would use fresh. If you're making a vinegar, I would use fresh. And then, and then just eat it fresh. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see what she says. So fresh plant tincture. She's just mentioning using the fresh plant tincture. So I think it's not usually used. So well, I saw about drying it for tea, but never got to do it. Aw, thanks, Heather. Heather just put a link to my chickweed live when I put up my chickweed oil. So if you wanted to watch about that and how to sort of start doing it, doing a fresh herbal oil is very tricky. So I think it's one of the hardest oils to do, but I think it yields the best results. So it's just really fiddly and everything. Okay, well, so Susun Weed doesn't talk about the tea, but it is possible that people do use chickweed tea for something. But I think mostly you want to use it fresh. And if you buy it dried, I would get it from Mountain Rose Herbs because they're just a really good source for everything. Or if you have a local health food store that has like a huge herbal bulk section, but they've probably also gotten it from Mountain Rose. So that would be the way to go. Okay, let's see. Where am I? Few patches of chickweed can outproduce my appetite for it. Last year I served chickweed salad to 30 women on spring equinox from this very patch. When I didn't have much help, I can eat quarts of chickweed a day all by myself. That's quite a lot. I drink I think cleaver tea would be much more beneficial. That's what Heather says. I believe so. But I think cleavers is also something you want to use fresh. I mean, I think dried cleavers just shrivels to almost nothing. But again, I would really have to do some research on that. Sometimes the chickweed is already flowering by spring equinox. Wouldn't you be surprised this little star plant had freshly flowers? Had flashly flowers? Don't worry, it doesn't. Unless you use a magnifying lens. I have no idea what that sentence means. Magnified, the pattern of delicate, deeply divided petals, each set off by a pointed green spiral, becomes a whirling medallia, a glittering star. The symmetry of the flower vibrates, and the 5 white cleft petals become 10 slivers of light in your eyes. The steeple's 5 pointed understar of shimmering green adds the effect. Or you are peering through a magnifying glass at a tiny flower, and suddenly you're having an experience of cosmic proportions. That's the little star lady for you. My sister is Silver Willow. My sister is executive chef in Texas, and she serves wild growing plants like these in her restaurant and in their 100-mile dinners. That's awesome, Silver Willow. Silver Willow. Yeah, that's become a real thing, and I think even though, like you can, we have like a company here that takes people on like these walks, and they gather wild plants like chickweed and other stuff and mushrooms, and then they make a dish from it. And they're expensive, but I'm still glad that like you know, like the word is still getting around about the plants. Even though a lot of this stuff you can do yourself and it shouldn't cost you money. But that's awesome. That is really awesome that she's incorporating that. So, yeah, hers is high end place. Yes. Right? The really common stuff. This is like the everyman's medicine, you know. So, but you can pick it in your yard. And there's a ton of recipes online for chickweed pesto and chickweed everything. You know, she's got a recipe for tabbouleh and mild curry chickweed. But there's so many recipes. So guys, I was wanting to finish this bit, but we'll have to finish. We'll have to continue next week because it is 12:32 and I have to go to work at 2, so I need time to eat and stuff and get dressed because I can't unfortunately wear my sheet pants to work because work is an icebox and freezing even in the summer. So but thank you for joining me. It was a little rough start for me because I was very tired and my brain wasn't really working, and I was just, but I'm glad we were able to have a talk and a discussion and a chat. Oh, thank you, Silver Willow. Thank you. It's been great having you guys. You're welcome. Thanks for joining me. Yes. Thank you, Julie. I'm going to need that. Full moons are exhausting. Oh, no. Of course. Yes. Everybody have a good day. Whatever you're doing today, and we will continue. Yes, Julie got, if you don't have this book and are interested in getting it, Julie found it on Thrift Books. It is on Amazon, but I think it's, at full price. So, oh, have a good day, you guys, and I will see you next week. I have so many ideas for videos on my channel, but currently I'm unable to put much up, but I will get there. So bear with me. All right. Thank you, Heather. Have a good day. If I don't see you guys before, I will see you guys next week on Thursday. And